Here we are at the Mount of Olives, looking at the famous view of the Dome of the Rock in the Old City, Jerusalem. Traditionally, that is known as the Temple Mount, and as you know, I don't believe that's the actual location of where Solomon's temple was, or the temple in Jesus' day, but typically they'll tell you that's where the temple was. They'll tell you that that right there was the eastern gate, even though that particular wall, which you see there, was built hundreds of years after the time of Christ, so that definitely was never an open gate. And then you can see over here kind of some of the older stones, like if you get down lower there, those ones date back a little farther. Not sure the details in the centuries, but you can even see some stuff there. They're still excavating around there. But that corner right there is what they call the pinnacle of the temple, where Satan tried to get Jesus to jump. But as you know, I don't believe any of that's the actual location. And I believe that the location is actually a much more boring spot to look at. But right there, somewhere in there, is probably where the temple used to be, where you see all those rocks at. They're doing some major excavating there. That's known as the City of David. You can see more here. And if you go way down there, they have what they call the altar of Melchizedek that we went to. And they will tell you this is where Jerusalem started. This is where they can find the oldest things that go way back before even Solomon's time. And you can kind of imagine the temple would have been there at one point, and this would have been a great spot for Jesus to talk about the temple. We know from the Bible in the book of Acts that when Paul was speaking at the temple, it talks about the Romans coming down the steps to the temple. And so this area that we're looking at is a old Roman fortress that housed thousands of troops. So they would have had, the troops would have been up there. There would have been steps going down over there to the temple, probably somewhere in there. And then that's where they took Paul up, and then they ended up putting him on trial. So that kind of give you a little idea. But a lot of this stuff has changed. People need to understand the landscape probably looks so different here. Like you can kind of see this land bridge here that's artificial. Romans were good at doing stuff like that. I don't know for sure that they did that one, but a lot has changed here. And without a doubt, you can see over there that yeah, there's evidence of a lot of building that went on there thousands of years ago. Right now we got this massive cemetery in between the Mount of Olives and Mount Zion. But that's the spot, and that's where Jesus says he's going to, the Bible says Jesus is going to rule from when he comes back. So lots going to change. Lots changed over the years, and a lot's going to change with everything that comes in the future. So hopefully this gives you an idea